Hi, I'm Kendall with Kendall's Greenhouse, and I'm sitting here in Seabrook, Washington, trying to decide how to share my beach garden with you guys. So this garden I'm having the hardest time because I've had it the longest. This is where I sort of fell in love with gardening back in 2020. I had a few pots right when we built this house that I just put in the yard to try to, I guess, take some ownership of what was going on. It was hard to wait to have a house built during that period of time, so the interior wasn't quite done yet. And I was like, I need to do something. So I planted some pots in the yard, and that was fall. So I just went to Home Depot. I bought some little squatty red pots. I'll show you a picture of them. And put some kind of like ornamental kale and some sedum and some things that I thought would survive the winter. I just kind of read the tags to see what would survive. And that was the beginning of my journey, because then as spring started to what's the saying? As spring came along, I of course wanted to change the pots over and put something pretty in there. And I started to learn a lot more about flowers. When I was in high school, I had done the flowers for Costco, done the flowers, whatever that means. I would go in there and I would refresh the flowers and like take the shipments and count everything and report them and all that stuff. So I kind of started learning about flowers back then, and I had some friends interested in gardening, and my mom was interested in gardening. So sort of learned a lot of little things over time. We had a short period of time where we were interested in sort of vegetable and fruit gardening. I did a lot of growing strawberries and that sort of thing. And then I sort of found this love for flower gardening. So as you can kind of see behind me, we made a landscape design for this property. It sort of came with the house. We picked the design for the house, and it already had this sort of landscape plan. So we went over the landscape plan with the town, and we, changed a couple things, but pretty much kept what they wanted. They chose to put this red alder here, to put the Escallonia hedge around the outside. They chose some of the locations for the hydrangeas and things. But then a lot of the filler plants were just like filler perennials or whatever, and they put like some hostas in the full sun and all these weird things. Even some of the hydrangeas, the macrophylla hydrangeas, should really not be in full sun, but I haven't kind of had the heart to move them because they are really pretty when they're in bloom. And you can hear that we're right across from the park, so the kiddos are super loud today. It's Saturday. But yes, so I had to move a bunch of things around that the landscapers put in that were not thriving. But yeah, anyways, it's been challenging to figure out how to introduce you, my followers, my channel, to this garden, just because I have some random footage over the last 3 years of what it looked like, and it's just sort of hard to find an entry point. So I think I'll do a couple of different videos showing sort of some of the history of the project and what I did, and what it looks like now, but it's always in transition too, especially spring into summer. So I just need to get a couple videos out to you showing you this yard and showing you there's a few areas that are pretty underdeveloped still that I'm going to be working on this year. So I'll let you know what that is, and maybe you'll have some good ideas for me about what you think I should plant. So yeah, that was a lot I had to say, apparently. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy seeing our garden here at Seabrook, Washington. Please leave me comments. This is still a super small channel, and so I read all your comments. I'd love to hear what you think, the flowers that you like, the things you're surprised survive. Here we get a lot of winds from the ocean, especially in the winter. But in some ways, it's a little more mild of a climate than in Tacoma. It just doesn't get quite as cold, but it is kind of colder for longer in the spring, so things sort of come up in the spring later than they do in Tacoma. So it's been really interesting to learn about the climate here and the different microclimates around the house. So I guess with no further ado, let me show you around the garden, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's March 24th. This is the view that people walking by get to see of the garden. Oh, you can see my little shadow. Hello. Let's go in. There's no life yet on these hydrangeas, but I'm going to move them anyway. Hebes are getting too big. Need to be cut back. Hello again. Let's shoot this direction so it's not so shady. All right, we got some alliums coming up. I think. Are you a sweet pea from last year? No, it's too woody. I don't actually know what that is. Interesting. All right, that clematis looks dead. This is the gardener's tour. That Hebe could be cut back. Okay, here's the campanula. And we have lots of camassia coming up. Look how pretty that is. There's some on that side too. I don't think I even knew when I planted it necessarily that it was native. I'm so excited about it. This grass planted itself here. I might move it. And I think that this is saxifrage seedlings from these flowers. I hope so. Greenery looks very similar, and I love those flowers. I want lots of it. So the camassia always takes a long time to grow. That's fine. It looks like we have some penstemon that seeded itself there. It's kind of fun. Oh, I went ahead and cut back this corkscrew, or this is not corkscrew, this rush that is just kind of native and planted itself here because it's gonna come back. And then there's what I think is Blue Star Creeper as our ground cover here. It's starting to get a little spread on it. And my stepping stones have gotten buried. So that'll be a project to uncover those. There is some liatris along this border starting to come up. Oh, there's a little random anemone. And look at all the Rudbeckia Goldstrom seedlings, and then it seeded itself in the path too. I dug up a couple of the seedlings. I have lots of Rudbeckia. I think there's some of this. I don't know if it's echinacea or Rudbeckia. There were two in these pots. They seem to be returning. The hydrangea, oak leaf hydrangea is starting to bud up. I think that pot's empty. What else do we have over here? I'm not sure what this is. I thought it was a saxifrage, but I'm not actually sure. Oh, it smells good. It smells like, maybe that's oregano. Does anyone recognize that? It looks like oregano. We've got our, I just forgot the name of this. It's spiky. I think it starts with an E. I'll put it on the screen. There's 2 of them I put here. They're coming back. And then I put another variety of saxifrage here. All 3 of them survived. Here and over there. Here's one of the pots we put together. The heuchera is not that protected over here yet because the alder has not leafed out. Let's see. Do I have buds? Yes. So it's budding. You see it? It'll leaf out and then get more protected over here. That's one of the pots we put together with a sweet box and lots of bulbs. Maybe overdid it a little, but I think it's fun. And then our GMs coming up again. And lupins. It's a spring container. See a hellebore over here. Hello, hellebore. That's a nice spot for you. Who else is leafing out over here? There's 2 spirea. And our James Galway rose. 1 out of 3 still alive. Then this is our untamed bush. I did cut some big pieces out of it, but cleaned up these hydrangeas here. Cut all the stuff that was underneath up off the ground. Tried not to trim too much of the top since they'll grow twice. Looks like there's a delphinium coming back and penstemon. Midnight something penstemon, right? So far there's a hollyhock in here. See that right there? I want to say midnight masquerade. That's right. I'd like to move these daisies if I have a chance. There's some other things seeding themselves and some more Liatris. This is all Rudbeckia seedlings that we walk on the path. There's some lupins coming up. There and there. Some bulbs and anemones that we moved here earlier this season. Primroses could use a little cleanup. This looks like it got unrooted or whatever a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of grooming things. Some people are. There's yarrow and sea thrift coming back here. And there's some babies I'm trying to transplant. There's another hydrangea I trimmed up. Blue waterfall campanula. Echinops, that's what it is. Here's another one. Echinops, that's Crocosmia lucifer coming up all through here. There's yarrow. There's geraniums, hardy geraniums. that back today. And there's a bunch of daisies I want to move. Need a climber for those pots. More hardy geraniums. Love those. Oh, my camera's shadow is pointing out where the yarrow is. There's some sweet spire. Looks like it sent a shoot out into the ground. That's interesting. I also put something else in here that I'm noticing. Red, if I can think of the name of it, I'll put it on the screen. Here's a pink hebe. This is a fuchsia that is alive. Its twin across the way here does not look alive, so we'll keep an eye on those. This one's in a lot more sun, a lot more exposed to the cold, so I think it might have gotten nipped. There's a weigela down there, not coming back yet. There's a salvia coming out. And there's a clematis climbing up here. Super excited about that. I thought I killed all clematis. There's some remnants of sweet peas. Pulled some of it out, but not all of it. Got some jasmine. Some bulbs. Rosemary. This is Centaurea, amethyst and snow. They call it perennial bachelor button. Bulbs, daffodils. And then we trimmed this hydrangea. I trimmed it. Got video of that if you want to see it. There's a honeysuckle over there. I tied up some pieces of it. Hopefully we'll get that climbing. There's, on the lower right there, feverfew. Corkscrew rush. All along the path. Oh, we can see my shadow again. Let's go to the end and turn around and see if I can not have my shadow on everything. There's another hydrangea I trimmed. Cute little pots. Some candy tuft, some rock cress. The bay laurel doesn't like the sun right here, but there's some sea thrift coming back. Hydrangeas I trimmed up from the ground. Some naturalizing scilla. I think I planted this 3 years ago now. There's some pearly everlasting in the right under the escallonia hedge. And then corkscrew rush. There's a little random grass right here. Hopefully choke that out with these other ground covers, right? There's some sedum, creeping jenny, corkscrew rush. There's a blue waterfall campanula. I think this is a tiny lilac on the left there. Crazy. There's some black mondo grass. And then I'll plant this short sweet peas on this little trellis system here. This, see if I can see a good example of this budding up. It's kind of hard to get a good picture of it. Can you see the little buds on there? Let me try another spot. I cut some of the bigger buds off yesterday. Oh, there's a good one up here. Can you see that? So I was able to trim this and see where it's budding out, up, out. Get a little peek of some hollyhocks coming back through there. That'll be fun. Here's the back of the feverfew. Alright, try not to squish anything. Here's the native Pearly Everlasting that planted itself. Here's what was supposed to be an annual. It opens up at night and smells amazing. Night scented stalk. Do I have a tag? Oh, evening scented phlox. I'm saying the wrong thing. I love this stuff. Okay, there's also some salvia coming back there. And a sweet spire just barely starting to bud up there. What else do we have? Amethyst in the snow. Sound good? Here's another view. The amethyst in the snow. Budding up. Clematis. Looking all cleaned up. Rock cress. I'd like to take it out of this container, but I don't have time right now. Oh, I didn't know I had blooms on my... this is a huckleberry bush. Those in focus. I like this little bush. And then there's irises and lilies planted in that pot too, I think. Bulbs coming up. I think somebody dug some of them up. Alright, our rose is starting to bud up over there. Some of the bulb pots we worked on. Got a few bulbs. Worth it. Hello, cute owl. Need some fresh sweet peas for that. Here's another night scented phlox that somehow survived and was supposed to be an annual. It looks a little rough, but I'm going to leave it and see what happens. See, there's some dead underneath, but it smells good. Whew, very strong. Got some summer alliums greenery coming up here. Lots of ground cover strawberries. A few things. This looks like definitely geranium here. Lots of rudbeckia here. There's some irises and crocosmia already coming up over there. This was an annual verbena last year. I'm just gonna leave it because I don't have anything else to put in there right now. Oh, we have a blooming heather over here. And then, do I know what you are? Do I want you here? I'm not sure what this is. I think this might be a campanula that I planted. Dog is, or something's munching the irises right there. I was gonna look for the Verbena bonariensis over here, but I'll have to look in a different spot. I don't see it. time. Oh, I wanted to show you, I think these are those light green things coming out of the ground, or the native ground cover. The name on the screen. Lots of catmint coming back. I love hardy geraniums. They're tucked in all over. Huge Hebes. Alright, I think we've done our circle. You can see the tamed Escallonia on the right and the untamed in the back. The alder tree has all her catkins on the upper half for some reason, and not the lower half. All right, March 24th. Hi, I'm back. Okay, so what you just saw was footage from this year, March 2024, what the garden looked like, and what I'm going to show you next is from 2 years ago, March and April of 2022. Because that's the footage I found. It is kind of incomplete, so the March footage kind of cuts off in the middle. I think maybe the camera battery died or something. And then the April footage, I was doing like a quick check-in after I did some work in the garden. But despite it being kind of scattered, I do think it's interesting to see how different the garden looked 2 years ago and what I was working on at the time and some of the plants I had just been putting in. So I hope you enjoy seeing what it used to look like. And I want to take you on a quick, hopefully quick, little walking tour. I've been doing a bunch of work and I just want to make sure and document this. So we're going to walk down to the front gate here and I'll show you what we have going on. Here is the front of our house, and I can't get the gate to shut. There we go. I'll just pan around here. We have a border of pink Escallonia that goes all around the front and sides of the house. And then in the fall, I added some Gold Flame Spirea. We'll see if I keep that. That was before I decided. Here, I want things mostly that have summer bloom because that's when we spend the most time here. I have some allium in the ground here. They seem to be pretty happy. And I snuck some sweet peas by the fence over there. So far, so good. I have a blue waterfall campanula here. That was beautiful last year, and there's another big one over here. That's repeat blooming, really nice. And I just put these little tete-a-tete daffodils in. You can tell that it's raining right now, so they're a little droopy, but I needed some spring color, so there we go. I also just moved, see if I can get a better shot, 2 oak leaf hydrangeas. I think they're called Peewee. They are alive. There's new foliage, but they don't look so great right now. Those stayed pretty low to the ground, so I moved them from their spot last year, but hopefully they like it here. And then I put some creeping thyme in yesterday. That'll have little white flowers on it, and some hebe that will also have little white flowers and make some nice little mounds. There's some saxifrage right there. Some, I think this is false spirea. I don't know what that is. I thought it was columbine, but we'll find out. There's a couple GMs in here. I had a hard time finding a spot for those, but they're going to be yellow, and I want this garden to be kind of yellow. So there's also a lupin that's going to be yellow in there. And then back in this corner, I've got a nice little bench. And I just moved this, forgot the name of it, ruby something maybe. Spirea here, that's just a very tiny Spirea. I don't think it gets bigger than 2x2. And then there's a snow mound Spirea in the corner here that's starting to leaf out. And there's a rose down there on the ground, a David Austin, James Galway, beautiful pink climbing rose. So hopefully it'll climb up on the fence here and we'll have a beautiful view of a rose with the ocean behind. And I just moved this hellebore over here, hoping to protect it a little bit with the Escallonia hedge. Back here's my workstation. Potting bench, garbage, extra pots, soil, that sort of thing. And then let's just take a peek really quick. We have a little nursery back here where I have self-watering containers, and I put stuff that's unhappy or small or dying or whatever back here and see if it'll come back to life. Here's the neighbor's beautiful red house. So I've done a ton of work here in the last few days. These hydrangeas were here last year. I put some fertilizer in them to try to keep them blue. I want this section to be blue and yellow and probably orange. I think I'm going to put some Tithonia in here that should fill out. These are our dining room windows. Nothing in that pot yet. There's 3 delphiniums in here that should grow nice and tall. Forgot what kind they are. There's some Dalmatian white foxgloves. I popped in 3 of them in between the hydrangeas. Those will grow up. And there's some daisies here. They're a little bit of a lower growing variety. And then I've got kind of a little lupin section here. And one more little hebe. Oh, and there's a purple clematis in here. I meant to look up what the name of it is, and I don't remember. So those 5 black containers are self-watering. That way I can plant stuff in spring and kind of leave them. And then when we're here for the summer vacation, they'll be happy and watered. In this front bed here, I made some changes. There's one hydrangea. I put some Western Columbine here. It's red and yellow. And then I planted some Gara called the Bride across this section here. And there's a row of kind of taller Shasta daisies there. And then I'm going to be replacing these 2 white pots because they're the wrong white color. I'm going to put some more of those low black containers here. And then that is a jasmine that will climb up onto our porch. So we'll have something lovely smelling while we're sitting on the porch. And then the rest of what's in here, there's a bunch of just ground cover succulents right now. I'm planning to put some hardy geraniums in the front here. And maybe some annuals, we'll see. But there's a bunch of red Crocosmia lucifer. We've got at least 3 sections of that there, and here. I just transplanted a pink hebe that was not so happy in a pot. I thought it would look good with my peony section. I have 3 peonies there, herbaceous peonies. And I just got these cages set up for them. So they'll have some stability this year. I forgot I snuck a couple black hollyhocks down here. So the hope is that they grow up and disguise a little bit of the base of that pipe that comes down. Then the bed across, I haven't done much this year yet, but I think I did the most work in here last year. So I have a matching gold flame spirea there on either side, more alliums. I've got a couple of hebes paired together here put them right next to each other, and they're growing together really nicely. I just stuck that hellebore in there that's still in a pot. So these are all just grasses and things left from last year. I did pop a couple primroses in, but they're not super happy right now. There's a little Walker's Low Nepeta catmint right there, a native bunchberry there, and some coastal strawberries make great ground cover here. They're very happy all over this bed. Some herbs and thyme, but I'm going to clean out these pots. It looks like we've got standing water in this one. So I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of what's new. Put that in, Campanula. Put that in. Put Liatris bulbs in along the path, both sides. Put gladiolus bulbs back there in the containers. Put lobelia, blue and white in these containers here. Put 9 bark in the ground right there. And is that it? Oh, I cleaned out this container completely. There's Mexican tuberose, I think it's called, in there, and gladiolas. And then I moved the, just forgot the name of it. Is that the lobelia? There. Put the name on the screen. What did I do over here? I moved Walker's Low Nepeta there. I put 2 yarrow in that should be pink and red. I put some mini gladiolus, nanus in those containers. You can't see them yet. Put a little weigela here. Put some delphiniums here, so they'll be near the peonies. Put a bunch of white and green things, bacopa and some other things in the pots here so that we can have white and green in this section. And in the ground, put a lilac in there. And I put sweet spire in there. And I think that that's it. Oh, didn't say. I put some Siberian irises in the ground here. And that's it for the front. Thank you for joining me on this March Seabrook front garden tour. And the plan is the next video I'm going to share will be the April of this year front garden tour, and then I'm also going to share the January of this year front garden tour. So the next comparison will be, instead of from 2 years ago to now, it'll be from now to winter, so you can kind of see how it looks when things are a little bit more dormant in winter, and then as the garden starts to wake up in the spring. And then I'd like to share some like a little bit fancier video I took just of like flowers and things that are beautiful coming up in the spring right now, especially the Camassia bulbs. So I'm planning to put together just sort of a super chill, relaxing video of pretty flowers coming into bloom. And then you will be kind of caught up on the Seabrook front garden tour. And I shot a quick little tour of the side of the house that I want to get to work on because it's a super high visibility space and I'd like to make it look really pretty this year. So that's what you have to look forward to in the next couple of videos. Thanks for hanging out with me, and you will see me again very soon, probably tomorrow, with the next Seabrook video.
Find yourself in Candle's greenhouse.